not your grandmother's COVID. This is a new form of COVID, a mutant strain that today has caused a fourth wave, a fourth surge that we are in the middle of that is threatening the health of Washingtonians.
Well, you heard it there first. Governor Jay Inslee announcing Washington is in the middle of a fourth wave of coronavirus infections. Cases once again are going up. You're looking at the case counts right now dating back to March of last year. So far, we're not nearly as bad as it was in December and January, but still the governor warns it is headed in that direction.
The governor says a big reason behind the spike is the new series of variants. Those variants are more transmittable and more dangerous to young people. The governor says the way to prevent these cases from happening is for more people to get vaccinated. He said the number of people getting vaccinated is going down, but he encourages people to do their part and get the shot. Good evening and thank you for joining us for Kremton News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
It's good to have you here tonight. I'm Whitney Ward. So let's take a look at this map here of the counties across the entire state of Washington. If your county is there in that darker color blue, it means that you are at risk of facing more restrictions and soon. The darker regions so far are not meeting phase 3 guidelines, which means they could go back to phase 2 next week.
The Washington Hospitality Association says cutting capacity to 25%, that would happen in phase 2, would dramatically hurt businesses. The association also said about 100,000 workers who were laid off during the pandemic are still believed to be out of work. Meantime, some parents are concerned about the potential of Spokane County moving back to phase 2. The state will evaluate Washington counties on Monday, and then on Tuesday they'll announce which counties are moving back.
So right now we know Spokane County is failing to meet 2 key metrics in the governor's plan. To keep us here in phase 3, our Morgan Trow is breaking down what it means for students, many who just got back in person for classes.
It's been a year of loss. Loss of loved ones, loss of ceremonies, and loss of milestone events.
Last year, kids didn't have sports, they didn't have proms, they didn't have they had drive-through graduations, things like that. I mean, my heart goes out to young people and how their school lives have been disrupted.
The class of 2021 was robbed of even more of the high school experience. The superintendent of Northeast Washington Educational Service District 101, Dr. Michael Dunn, says he doesn't want any more students to miss out on these life events.
The requirements that are associated with phase 2 on the Road to Recovery plan will not change what is currently happening in schools.
Dunn says the number of students in the school and the social distancing rule will not be impacted by Spokane County potentially moving backwards in Governor Jay Inslee's reopening guidelines. The big question parents have is about graduation. Well, you're in luck.
It is my understanding that the graduation guidance that was provided earlier won't be impacted either as a result of phase 2.
Unfortunately, athletics will take a hit.
The impact will be more in the extracurricular area in terms of some of the sports that can or cannot happen in phase 2.
Basketball and wrestling are just starting their seasons after being postponed for months. They are 2 of the high-contact sports that will no longer be able to scrimmage, train, or practice with other teams inside in phase 2. All tournaments for high-contact and moderate-contact sports will be canceled. Dunn says this has obviously disappointed many student athletes, parents, and community members. But until we get Spokane County's metrics under control, we have to keep following the rules so we can get some normalcy back to our lives. It is going to be extremely difficult for Spokane County to stay in phase 3. As of right now, our health director says we will not be meeting 2 of the governor's metrics if nothing changes between now and Monday. Reporting in Spokane, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
Coronavirus hospitalizations are climbing in Spokane County as the area experiences that uptick in COVID-19 cases. The Spokane Regional Health District is reporting right now there is less space in hospitals than there was at the beginning of the winter surge. Hospital bed occupancy is above 80%, but the State Department of Health's goal is less than 80%. However, we do want to point out that the percentage of beds occupied by COVID-19 patients is below the state's goal, which is 10%.
In the meantime, doctors are working around the clock in Republic tonight after a super spreader event infected close to 100 people with the coronavirus. It's about 10% of the town's population, and it has forced many local businesses there to just shut down temporarily simply because so many people are homesick or are in quarantine. Most of the new cases have been traced back to a recruiting event that was held just a few weeks ago at this Eagles Club. Several people reached out to us here at KREM saying the event was at least in part held in protest of COVID restrictions. So I took that question straight to the head of the local Eagles chapter. Was it a COVID protest of any kind?
No, not at all. Not at all. This actually started the Friday before our event. We had a membership drive. And the Friday before, every Friday, we usually have a dinner up here. Somebody showed up that night at our poker table, and a couple days later, I find out everybody at that table was sick.
Coming up tonight at 6, we'll have more on how health officials there are responding all across the Tri-County area, plus what they are bracing for next. That story tonight on KREM 2 News at 6.
As a growing number of people get vaccinated against COVID-19, the KREM 2 Verify team continues to get questions about how long the vaccine lasts. So I took that question to the experts. I spoke with Dr. Anna Wall, the director of the University of Washington's Virology Research Clinic, and I also spoke with Dr. Pyle Coley, a cardiologist and KREM 2 medical expert. So I guess the question is, how long does the vaccine last?
So we know based on recent data released both from Pfizer and from Moderna that the vaccine offers robust protection for at least 6 months, possibly longer.
But what happens after 6 months? Do we lose protection from the vaccine? Be sure to catch my Verify report coming up on KREM 2 News at 10 and 11 o'clock tonight. Well, some breaking news tonight. The saga, more than 2 years in the making, has just come to a conclusion. The U.S. Border Patrol has reached a settlement with a comedian who sued them for an incident at the Spokane Intermodal Center.
You may remember this case. Our Casey Decker has been following the story since it started back in 2019. Today, in an exclusive interview, he talked with the comedian about what it means to finally have a resolution. Casey?
Well, Whitney, this story gained national attention, in part because it highlighted a controversial Border Patrol practice, boarding Greyhound and other buses and then interviewing the people on them. Now, to recap, in 2019, Mohamed El-Sheikh was a Portland-based comedian on his way back from a show in Pullman. Border Patrol agents got on his bus and started asking people questions. They pulled 4 people off that bus, including El-Sheikh, who's an asylee from Libya. El-Sheikh says they then demanded his papers, then accused his of being fake when he presented them. He says the agents were hostile and that none of the 4 people they interrogated were white. They eventually let him back on the bus, but El-Sheikh says the confrontation has stuck with him ever since.
I just felt like not feeling like I'm not safe anymore. Throughout the past year, I tried not to even get a speeding ticket, or a parking ticket. I was just like, I'm trying to avoid like law enforcement as much as possible. I do not want to give them any excuses to put me in any trouble.
So with the help of the ACLU and the Northwest Immigrant Rights Project, El-Sheikh sued the Border Patrol for detaining him without cause. And today they reached a settlement. The government will pay him and another man who had a similar experience $35,000 apiece.
The Border Patrol, they have to have a reason to arrest someone, right? It can't just be, well, I know you're from a foreign country, so I'm going to arrest you and detain you because maybe you're here unlawfully. That's not the case for lots of people who are here, even if they're from another country, right? So what it boils down to is under the Fourth Amendment, law enforcement has to have a reason to detain you, and that wasn't the case here.
The whole ordeal raised debate about that Border Patrol practice of bus checks. The city council tried to ban them, and then there was extensive debate, of course, about their legality. Right now, we are told Border Patrol is not currently boarding buses at the Intermodal Center. That's in part just because of operational changes made during the pandemic, but what also probably played a role, an internal memo leaked in which Border Patrol's own lawyers acknowledged agents need probable cause or consent from the bus company to board. After that memo, Greyhound announced they would end their practice of allowing agents onto their buses without any reason. El-Sheikh says for his part he's pleased with the outcome, but glad this is all over.
Very happy that it's finally over and I don't need to think about it anymore. It's been 2 years and I just feel like the case has been like in the back of my head this whole time. And I'm just happy that I don't have to think about it anymore. If it helped like anyone avoid a situation like that, then it's been worth it.
We asked Border Patrol for comment tonight, and we have not yet received any. In the newsroom, Casey Decker, KREM 2 News.
Thank you very much. New tonight, the Spokane Police Department is asking for the public's help in identifying the suspects who vandalized the George Floyd mural in downtown Spokane. This video posted on Twitter on Sunday shows at least 2 men in dark hoodies tampering with the mural and taking what looks to be pictures of that vandalism. They then put the items in the back of a dark parked pickup and they drive away. Police say if you know anything about this incident and you have yet to speak with law enforcement, please call Crime Check at that number at the bottom of your screen. Let's talk weather. Whitney, if I'm being honest, I had a hard time leaving my porch and coming into work this afternoon because it's just so nice outside, right?
I am 100% positive that you are not the only one who faced that problem. It was even beautiful at the very start, early this morning when typically it's been kind of chilly. Tom Sherry actually out there enjoying the sunshine and the very warm temperatures. For once, we wish we were out there.
Right, exactly.
Come on out.
Okay.
You know, hey, don't forget, towards the end of May, we start Tom's barbecue forecast. So we're back with that, towards we kind of get things closer to normal, right?
Favorite time of the year right there.
Pardon me, sir?
Favorite time of the year.
Oh, I love when you talk like that. Me too. Let's do this, shall we? Let's talk about it. Friday, we'll look for windy and warm weather. I've got mostly cloudy skies in the forecast on Friday. It'll be sunny on Saturday. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s on Saturday, but as we get into Sunday, we'll look for breezy weather, partly cloudy skies, and highs in the mid 60s. So the weekend will not be as warm as what we're seeing right now and again tomorrow, but it'll still be a little bit above average. The average high is 61. Right now we're at 76 degrees. You can see the wind is blowing now out of the southwest at 15 miles per hour. I can feel that little bit of a breeze, but gosh, when you've got an air temperature of 76, it doesn't feel bad at all. Day planner forecast calling for cloudy skies this evening into the overnight hours through tomorrow. 48 the overnight low, so very mild. It wasn't too long ago that 48 was our average high, and that'll be our low tonight. Then we'll look for a high Friday of 73 degrees. Looking ahead to the weekend, I talked about the 60s. I've got 68 on Saturday with sunshine. We'll see 65 on your Sunday, and again, a chance of mountain showers both Saturday and Sunday. I'll check your 7-day forecast, all coming up in a few minutes.
We'll talk to you then, Tom. Thank you very much. And still ahead tonight, Coeur d'Alene was named the country's hottest housing market earlier this week.
When we come right back, more details on what one group is doing to keep the momentum going for everyone. That story coming up next.